Haven't y'all tried miracle food yet?
Miracle food.
Mega food.
Miracle foods.
Miracle food.
Miracle food.
Miracle food.
Miracle food.
Miracle food.
Please support your Black businesses and support your health. This is a tool to genuinely heal people. It's through the roof. I feel like I'm low-key levitating in this bitch. This should be in your cabinets.
Oh, got it.
Oh, yeah, my first big break was I did Barney Miller. Did a Barney Miller.
Okay.
And then after Barney Miller, I did a let's see. Barney Miller got me a show called Fish. And then I did Fish for 3 years. And from Fish, I did tons of movie of the weeks, a bunch of, I was in Roots. I was in Roots.
Okay.
I was on the Waltons, Little House on the Prairie. I was on a lot of shows. I did over 200 commercials in my life. And as a kid, I did so many different kind of commercials. My first commercial I did was a Jello brand gelatin commercial. And it was, and that we did those done with the entire family. So
awesome.
But I did a United Airlines commercial with Carl Weathers before he was Rocky. With Rocky.
Hollow.
So,
yeah.
Right. So I heard you telling a few stories about like not your acting life, but just regular life. Talk about that growing up, and you talked about a lot of times, being harassed and different things and picked on. I don't know if you're talking about like the police or whoever. Talk about that. Like you said, it happened all the way up to you was like 27 years old.
Well, that's the reason why what led to a lot of things happening to me is because growing up, being from LA when I moved to the San Fernando Valley, I did not know, that if you're a black kid riding a bike, you were going to get pulled over on your bike. When I started at 12 years old, getting pulled over on my bike, and they would take my bike, and then they would tell me that I stole my bike without even asking me anything about it. They just take it and told me I stole it. And all my white friends would be telling them, hey, that's his bike. Leave him alone. It's his bike. But they take it. And then my mom, you know how mothers are. My mom would go down there and get my bike back, and say a few words to them. And it just increasingly got worse and worse, and the unfortunate part about it is that nobody believed me back then when I was telling them. Everyone thought I was lying. Everyone thought I was making it up, but then they found out, that I wasn't making it up. We all know now that I was telling the truth,
Talk about that though, from then to now. Even prior to our parents and their parents before that, we've been dealing with this for a long time. And still in 2021, we still seem to deal with it. Talk about that. Did you believe back then that we would still deal with this now?
No, that's the thing about it is I thought that, when you're a kid too, you look at things a lot differently, and you believe that things will change one day. I thought that maybe at first I thought it was just happening to me, and then you start hearing the stories about it's happening to, anybody who's a minority, and you start realizing that, it's something that's a problem in the United States, and they didn't want to change it until they started being put on blast and being shown on TV. But I need to say this too. There's a lot of great, wonderful police officers, a lot of great ones, but unfortunately the bad ones overshadow the good ones. That's just what happens,
Absolutely.
Now, after you became, you got a little bit of stardom, did it still continue then?
Oh yeah, it got even worse. When I'd be driving my car to work and they would pull me. I used to always bring a change of clothes in my car. Okay. So because I knew that before I got to work, I'm going to be pulled over, usually most of the time at gunpoint while I'm, spread eagle on the ground, and I knew my clothes were going to get messed up. So I always wore some, regular clothes so that I can change into them after I got to work,
man,
because it was going to happen. It happened all the time, I used to call it the black turnaround, when the cops go in the other direction, you're going another direction. They will turn around, get behind you and pull you over. I call it, the black turnaround. I call it. They see a black person go, we got to turn around. They turn around and you right over.
How did that, in your opinion, do you think that traumatized you? Oh yeah, and then everything else that I went through in my life, it just led to me, having a serious issue emotionally and mentally, and and it led to some, unfortunately, led to some things that that we shouldn't do, but it happens because you don't feel good about yourself. And you think that, you don't deserve to be where you are because they're telling you that, you're hearing the N word from them. They used to call me the N word all the time. It wasn't a big deal to them. Yeah. If I had cameras back then, man, it would have been really different, to actually show people what was going on. At least today we can film them and
you know, people are held accountable for their actions. Even regular people are, and that's how it should be, and it always should be that way.
Right. And then now that you're talking and I'm thinking about it, I said it was Different Strokes, one of your first big breaks, but no, I remember you on Little House on the Prairie. You were the kid in school talking about these issues and not wanting to be black because of things. I remember that vividly. And you were Roots. You played these prominent roles early on and then dealing with it in real life. How did those two kind of coincide with the
that's okay. Well, see, the thing is that most of us know that we didn't really learn what slavery was until after Roots. You know what I mean? Most of us black people didn't really know. You know, we knew about how bad it was in America, but we never knew how bad that, you know, our ancestors before they had really had it. And, you know, once we learned that, you know, it was, you know, it made me angry for, you know, quite a while. You know, I was angry at, you know, other races for the things that we had went through. But you learn that it's not them, you know, it was their ancestors and they have nothing to do with that. So you learn to calm down. But for me, because I was such a young child at the time of all this, I was going through all this emotionally, you know, what I do is I thank God that I was able to be where I'm at today, you know, and be, you know, a sound mind, you know, I'm 30 years sober, you know, and not having to worry about any of that mess anymore. It's just nice to be able to live a life and have good kids that have never, you know, my kids, I'm sure have seen some of it for them, have gone through some of it probably, but not as bad as we had it. So at least it got a little bit better for them. And hopefully, you know, hopefully one day in America, you know, people will be completely held for their actions, especially when it comes to racism, because that's, you know, it's so destructive. I think, you know, what they say when they say sticks and stones don't break your bones, but names don't ever hurt you. I think, you know, that's the biggest crap line ever. Of course, you know, things hurt your feelings and they bother people. You know what I mean? So, you know, we have to realize, I mean, could you imagine, you know, a young black kid, you know, growing up, and he's on television, you know, and he's supposed to be, you know, a celebrity and all that, but getting treated like, you know, like he's some criminal when he wasn't, you know, emotionally, that was very difficult.
Do you ever think about the irony of you actually going through this, you know, and playing these roles and then getting your role on a Different Strokes, whereas two kids from Harlem that are adopted by, you know, a white family? My question would be, did you ever have any reservations about that, like going what you've been through with white people and having to play this role of being adopted? No? Okay.
No, because those people everybody was really nice. And that was the difference. Okay. You know, they didn't treat me any differently because of the color of my skin. You know, they judge people on their actions. They did. So, and that's how it should be. You judge people on how they act.
Did that change the perception of white folks at all when you,
No, because I don't blame everybody. I never have. I don't blame everybody. You know, it's just those certain individuals who are doing things. Those are the ones who, you know, get blamed. And that's the difference between me and a lot of them, where, you know, if a black person did something wrong, they blamed every black person. I don't do that. You know what I mean? You know, I'm more of a, if it's that person, it's that person, you know? And, you know, now if his son grows up to be completely different, I'm good with that too, you know? But, you know, that's why what I am happy with about what's going on is a lot of people, a lot of kids are not doing what their parents had done or their grandparents had done. They're changing, you know, the methods and realizing that it's just human beings and need to be treated the same. Especially, you know, as long as you're American, you're American. Because the bottom line is, if somebody comes over here and invades us, you're not going to be asking me what color I am. You're going to be asking for help. That's how it's going to be, you know?
Absolutely. I want to go from Different Strokes on, because we like to talk about to our actors and actresses on the show about their journey through Hollywood and being a black male in Hollywood. How was the journey through that, dealing with whatever you dealt with as far as getting roles, not getting roles? How was your journey as a black man through Hollywood, if you could take us through?
Man, it's different for black people in Hollywood. It's
Show to introduce the show. When I sent this to Sam, asked, oh God, that nigga said, oh God, you the man, Cass. I spit white like a clan mask, and I'm a hustler. I could stand out on the beach and sell sandbags. Some things can't last, but this ain't just a podcast. This is Sam Ant and Oh Godcast. Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Oh God, driving Sam Ant riding passenger side, and you heard it out the mouth of the greatest rapper alive. Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Oh God, driving Sam Ant riding passenger side, and you heard it out the mouth of the greatest rapper alive. Go gang.